Happy Sabbath, everyone. It is Friday night, November 28th, the day after Thanksgiving. Um, in all honesty, I truly hope that you didn't do Black Friday shopping and that you avoided the craziness and the rat race and the foolishness, the idolatry that surrounds Black Friday, because Black Friday, there is nothing good about it. You can argue, there's all these great deals out there and this. It ain't nothing but just materialism and worldism. Anyways, so we live in a house, obviously, that has wood floors throughout, and the sound carries throughout the whole house. I mean, so you're probably going to be hearing children. You're going to be hearing real life, especially tonight, because some nights are better than others. And when you have small children, we have a 9-year-old. Well, he's almost 9. He'll be 9 years old here in a couple of days. And we have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. And the 6-year-old and the 2-year-old, the 2-year-old, adores her older brother. The 6-year-old is just spitting fire and a bull in a china shop and wants nothing to do with her. So there's always tension or interaction between between Joshua and Abby. Like I said, she adores him, and she just loves to be right up underneath him, and he hates it, and he's always fussing and yelling and saying, "Get away from me!" So don't be surprised if you hear that. Tonight, Latwana, she mentioned a documentary that she watched yesterday, and then we both watched today, produced by Dinesh D'Souza. Some of you might know who that is. He's somebody that's been put in jail because of his documentaries. Interesting character, interesting fellow. I watched a few interviews with him, and apparently he was going to do a documentary showing how America is slowly falling into a socialist state, or a socialist style of government, which most people wouldn't deny that. That's one time in our history we could say, well, that's arguable. We don't have a social. Well, you know what? Now there are aspects and symptoms of a social style government, or social government, socialist, I should say, a socialist government here in the United States, and that's hard to swallow. It's hard to swallow because you hear in the media always demonizing and calling somebody a Nazi, when Nazi is just short for National Socialism. And that is where we've been heading for the last 30, 40 years, is to a social, maybe even more. But it just seems like it's like a parabolic curve. It's just continuing to become more and more, or we're actually going down more and more and steeper into a socialist state. And it's concerning, because I don't want to get too far into politics. I don't want to get too far into, because while I want to talk about politics, I don't want to talk about party politics. Party politics is not what this is about. I could care less about party politics. In fact, both me and Latwana, for the last 2 or 3 elections, neither of us have elected or have voted for a Republican or a Democrat. We have voted for a third party. Doesn't matter who, and it doesn't matter, and it hasn't always been the same candidate, the same third party candidate, or the same third party, because our politics are specifically about the person, not about the party. We care less about the Republicans. We don't care about the Democrats. We don't care about the Libertarians. We don't care about the Green Party, the Constitutional Party. It doesn't matter. What matters is the person that's being represented. So based purely upon the merits of the candidate, that's who we vote for. And so hearing all the rhetoric and everything that's going on with President Trump's with his litigation about the election, and Joe Biden unofficially winning the election, I'm very concerned about where the country would be going with Joe Biden. Some of the things that he has been touting, some of the things that he has been campaigning on are absolutely nothing but socialism. And that concerns me. Not only that, but in the last 4 years, we have gained so much ground when it comes to the issue of abortion. So often we get Republican candidates that are running on anti-abortion campaigns, but once they get into office, nothing's done. It just stays the same. It completely stays the same. And Roe versus Wade has been the standard for ever since the ruling came out of the 60s, until the last 4 years. In the last 4 years, it's a state-by-state issue, and it's gone like this, where every state, one way or another, adhered to Roe versus Wade being the standard. It's changed now. There are so many states that have passed legislation banning abortion. Some states have banned it outright. Some states have banned it or added clauses to it saying that once there is a heartbeat that's detectable in the fetus or in the unborn child, then abortion's out the window. And then, like I said, in the other direction, there's some states. New York has passed a law that allows abortion right up to the day of delivery. So there's a lot of hope when it comes to the issue of abortion. However, under Joe Biden, and not so much Joe Biden, but under Kamala Harris, under her administration or her politics, she is absolutely pro-abortion. She is pro-choice. And pro-choice has got such a nice sounding word. Pro-choice is a good thing, right? No, it's pro-murder. It is pro-genocide, infanticide. So that causes us great concern. Just for that sake, Biden's old. The man is. If you watch interviews with him, he's starting to have hiccups in his cognitive ability, his cognitive status. And that's another concern, is that he would die while president because of how old he is. I mean, he is really getting up there. And Kamala Harris taking over and becoming president. Now, the only thing that gives me comfort about this is how the Republicans have won so much of the Senate and the House. And our founding fathers, in their geniusness, understood that if they put checks and balances where you have to have a president, Congress, Senate, and the judiciary system all approve laws to be made. Now, really, the judiciary system, they don't get involved in approving laws, but when something seems to be unconstitutional, they have the power to step in and weigh in on the issue. But when you have, now that the Republicans will have so much power, will have more power in the Senate and in Congress. Now, we don't know exactly how many. Again, it's all preliminary. It's all just, it hasn't been, the elections for president as well as for the senators and the congressmen have not been, what's the word? Been certified. That if you have a president, a Democrat president, because let's just, and I'm not speaking for or against Democrats or Republicans. Remember, just previous to this administration, Latuan and I, we didn't vote for Democrats or Republicans. If let's just say that Joe Biden becomes president, the only saving grace is that he had the Congress and the Senate will be Republican, and so that makes it very difficult to pass laws or to introduce legislation. Because really, the only thing a president can do besides his executive orders, which has gotten out of control, is to introduce legislation. He can't make things happen. He's not a king. But the founders of our country, they understood this, and it's what makes it difficult to change. So we have the capability to change our Constitution. We have the capability to change our government, but it's very difficult and slow, and they did that for a reason, because we should only be able to change it when it's absolutely necessary and important, and everybody agrees. So with that said, introducing and passing new legislation would be very difficult for Joe Biden. Now, on the other hand, if President Trump manages to swing the electorate or to win in the courts, what you got to understand, you've got to be very careful and understand that everything that's going on right now is written in the Constitution. The founding fathers, they set up the Constitution. They set up a specific step and way of do things for this. That if this isn't the first president that has refused to concede, and that if a president does concede, then it will go to the end of the electorate. If there's an issue with the electorate, it'll go to Congress, and Congress will settle it. So there's no way that Trump can steal the election. There's only letting it play out, and it plays out in his favor. That's how he would become president, or he would have a second term, a second presidency. There's no way that he can actually steal it, because who has all the power? In all honesty, the legislature has all the power, and they will be able to say yes or no, or so. Just let it play out. Don't get involved in the party politics. Don't get involved if you're a Democrat and you're feeling offended. Let it play out. Just let the system do its job, do what it was designed to do, and that's work itself out, and it will. Going to court after an election, a presidential election, is nothing new. It happens all the time. It's just eventually somebody ends up conceding. We know during the 2000 election with Bush and Gore, it took some time. There was a lot of litigation going on between the two, And then finally, Gore conceded. And then we went from there. So, I just want to make sure that I get upset when people play party politics, when people vote for a candidate simply because he's of a certain party, rather than voting on issues, which has always just frustrated me to no end, that people who call themselves Christians and call themselves pro-life vote for blatant pro-choice candidates. That doesn't make sense. Now, if that's not one of your core issues, your core positions, then I get it. But for any Christian not to have abortion as one of the number one key issues in their politics, especially in today's environment, that doesn't make sense. That really doesn't make sense. So, for that reason, it'll play out. And my hopes is that President Trump is awarded a second term. Because under his administration, with a Republican House and a Republican Senate, the issue of abortion could even go further. The right to life, the protecting life would go a lot further. And a lot of people don't. Here's the thing: a lot of people don't realize this because it's not talked about in the national media. And this has been. I don't want to swear. I really don't. But this has been a complete. I'm going to use a German word. A Scheist show. It's a complete Scheist show. Because the liberal media are so hell-bent on ignoring issues and doing everything they can to sway the public in one direction. And it's funny, back in 2016, when there was all this speculation of Russian collusion. Now, whether it did or not, that's not where I'm going with this. It's never been talked about how social media is influenced. The fact that Facebook and Twitter and social media platforms, they have algorithms and programs that will specifically target different demographics in their memberships. That people who are openly liberal in Facebook will be encouraged with ads in one direction, and people that are openly conservative in their Facebook pages will be targeted with other ads or with other or won't see ads at all. And it's gotten so bad that now we see that Twitter is, whether or not what you're saying is BS, Twitter is banning people's accounts. And we're not talking just about Joe Schmoes. We're talking about the President of the United States. His Twitter account was banned because he was saying things that were false according to Twitter. But you get on there and rail off all kinds of BS and bogus crap, and they're not going to ban your account unless it's political oriented. and then the media. And I'm not just talking about the liberal media being NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, but Fox as well. Fox as well has showed their hand and are beholding to the AP, the Associated Press, and the choice of words that they use are so blatantly biased that it's no longer become a respectable source of information. Now, where am I going with this? I hate the media. I hate it. And again, this doesn't come down to party politics. It's not that I'm a conservative and I say Fox, Fox is where I'm aligned with, and I hate CNN, or CNN is what I listen to, and Fox. It's all crap. It's all biased, and it all falls in line with the AP. Now, if you don't know what the AP is, the Associated Press. It's a conglomerate of press companies, news agencies that they basically send out. It's become where they send out marching orders. They send out messages of what to say. And if you doubt me at all, go online, go on Google, and just look up and this is going to sound a little out there, but news brainwashing, where you can see examples of station after station after station after station after station after station of local news networks across the board. Doesn't matter whether it's Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS, whatever, all the alphabet soups, and they are saying the exact same words in their broadcast. It's scary and weird that all of these news agencies are reading a script from one source, and they will have you'll see this picture of a screen of a different, or a dozen or more news agencies, and it's like a crowded room full of people saying the exact same thing. And not only that, they're telling the exact same joke with the exact same timing, with the exact same punchline. And it makes you want to throw up that investigative journalism doesn't exist anymore. The last real investigative journalist was probably Geraldo Rivera. But you don't have those anymore. They don't exist. Your sleuth reporters don't exist anymore. Because now your news agencies consist of people who show up, have a script, give their script, and go home. It's a job. It's not investigation anymore. Your news agencies, newspapers don't exist anymore, but your news agencies don't have investigative reporters anymore. And what investigative reporting there is, it's shuffled to the juniors, the interns on stupid issues, just non-essential things in communities. It's never actual true investigative reporting where a reporter says, hey, I did this study and this is what I found out. And then you say, well, what about all the people you hear about them interviewing? The truth of it is, a news agency will go out and will interview 100, 200 people, and then selectively select one or two, maybe three people that say what they want to hear or align with the message or the direction that they want to go. They don't show up, and if just take note, if they do ever show an interview of someone that is counter to their position politically, the first person, either the first or second person interview will let's just say will be oppose their position, and then the last two or three interviews will always be will always be in favor of their position, of the position of the media source. So, watching all of this, I get more angry and more upset with what's going on in the media and in social media especially than I do with the actual presidential race. It has just become so, and this is my favorite word, it has become so asinine. It is just blatantly asinine what is going on with the media, how the media are trying to manipulate and maneuver and lose my train of thought. The way they're trying to manipulate and sway the opinion of the people. And the sad thing is, it's still working because people listen.
It's not working anymore. People start turning off CNN.
Well,
they're watching other news networks that
we
are
know
more
that
truthful now. It's not working.
well,
I'll just say in my prayer time, he already cast judgment on the media long before we all voted. Media is going down. Mainstream media.
and that includes Fox. Fox is going down with it.
And the Wall
Fox
Street
is-
Journal and all the other
It is.
magazines, newspapers, they're all connected. They're all going down. They're going to lose their ratings, and nobody's going to fall for it anymore. Because God is the one that has the power to take the scales off the eyes. If you've been manipulated, if you have been subject to ungodly, wicked devices to get you to think a certain way, which is what propaganda is for, God is so merciful to allow us to be free from that. That's something to be excited about. God is intervening right now when it comes to the media. It is a demon that has been on a mission. Well, at least that's how it's behind the media is the enemy, the devil, and spewing hate, racism, wants you to be angry, all these kinds of things. And there have been people that have had certain reactions while watching the news because they get sucked into it. And I can remember there was a gentleman who sent out this mass text to everybody, and the way he started was, well, I think blah, blah, blah. And I was like, discernment was like, what is this? I could feel it. It was like, this person sounds like he's been watching the news, and he just stirred up and just wants to have a conversation, which was so unfruitful. What's the point? I think so-and-so, da, 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 blah, blah, blah. We're believers. It's not about our thoughts. It's about the work of the Lord. Who cares about what they're doing? What did God say do?
If you don't,
Always hate
as a believer, if your core principles aren't what's in the Bible, aren't what's written, aren't the 10 Commandments of God, if that's not your center point, if that's not what you base your politics on, then your politics are skewed. That's all there is to it. And if the candidate you vote for, there's not going to be a candidate that you can go down the list of the 10 Commandments and say, yep, he's doing this, yep, this. But if you have a candidate that doesn't behold to any of them, he passes them off as something unimportant, that he supports removing the 10 Commandments from schools, from government buildings, then that candidate is against God. There's no other way to put it. You can't sit there and get into the party politics of it and say, well, I like this party. No, it's not about that. Does this candidate support the 10 Commandments? Does he support the Word of God, or does he not? And we get so wound up with who's a Democrat, who's a Republican, that we forget what's important. We forget where our allegiance should lie. It shouldn't be in the party. It should be in the Word of God. It should be in what's written. It should be in the prophets. And it's that simple. Is that idealistic? Not at all. Absolutely not. Because if we voted based on, as believers, if we voted and lived our life based on the Ten Commandments, this country would be a whole different place. But yet we don't, because we've been brainwashed into what's it called? Ethics. Something ethics. Situational ethics, where you draw your ethics based on the situation, where you determine what's right or wrong based on the situation, without first applying it to what's been written and what God has said. Sorry, did I interrupt you?
Mm-mm.
So, the best thing to do I don't want to swear again because it gets me so wound up, so mad. Turn off the TV. Turn it off. There is nothing good on the TV. There's nothing that you can do about what's going on in the presidential race right now, in the presidential election. There's nothing you can do.
Maybe you can pray.
That's what I mean.
You
But
should.
but turn off the TV. Watching the TV is not going to do it. Because the only people that benefit from you watching the news and watching all the latest stories on what's going on, the only people that benefit is the news themselves. They're selling you. It's just anytime you plug into a TV, whatever you're watching wins. The news agency, they win advertising dollars because of how many people are watching, and if you're part of those people watching, they win. You ain't getting any money out of it. There's nothing you can do about it. It's going to play out. It's out of our hands at this point. It's in God's hands, and it's in the hands of the electorates and in the hands of the politicians. Let it play itself out. It'll play out according to the rules that were written back in 1776. Well, actually, it was after that, 1790s, when the Constitution was written and ratified. But just turn off the damn TV, because there's nothing good on it. There's nothing good. Wanting to hear about demonizing this person this way and justifying this person that way. It's just the best thing you can do, like Latwana said, is pray. Pray for God to deliver the candidate that would serve his kingdom best. We have gotten so far down this stupid idea of separation of church and state that we have this idea that our beliefs, that our morals and standards shouldn't have anything to do with what's in the government. And that is furthest from the truth. The truth about the separation of church and state has nothing to do with keeping church out of state. It's the purpose of the separation of church and state is to keep the government out of church. And we have allowed government into our churches. Church should absolutely be involved in government. The only thing about separation of church and state is to keep the government out of the church, to keep government to determine what religion to believe. For example, the Church of England, during the time of the Revolution, the Church of England was the national church, the state church of England. And we didn't want anything to do with that. We wanted to be able to have whatever denomination we wanted. And that was the purpose of separation of church and state. It was to keep the government out of our church. But we should absolutely have our church in the government. We should absolutely have the Ten Commandments in our courthouses, in our Capitol buildings, in our schools. What say you? Ice cream, huh? Yeah. So, turn off the TV. You know, if you want something to stir your heart, you want something well worth watching, go look up on YouTube, go watch a sermon by David Wilkerson called A Call to English. A Call to English. Changed my life completely when I heard this sermon. It was one of those defining moments in my life where I got it and understood how serious our walk with God needs to be. How much we need to walk the walk and not just talk the talk. How we need to be very discerning about who we support in government and who we patronize in media. What we allow ourselves to be entertained by and to watch. So, again, look it up. David Wilkerson, A Call to Anguish. So just pray. Pray for our government. Pray for our leaders. That they will be willing to do God's will. That they will be willing to it's hard to say for a godly man to be a president because so many politicians are not anything near godly. But pray that a godly man will be elected. Pray that a godly man will be selected. That he will lead us going forward because God knows that we need more godly men in government. We need more men who are willing to go in there, not as a lifetime politician, not as a professional politician, but to go in there and be a man of God. Stand up for the principles of the church, of believers. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see. I'm very, when you unplug from TV, when you unplug from the world, it changes everything. So when you unplug yourself, watching the media, watching the news, watching politics becomes a sideshow. It becomes a three-ring circus that you glance at once in a while for entertainment and curiosity, but it's not the defining factor in your life. We have in America allowed politics to become our religion. We have allowed ourselves to worship politics. And I talked about this earlier. The definition of worship is to have respect, adoration, and awe for something. So if we're spending more time in our political discussions, in our watching political news, and being involved and aware of political whatever, all your talking heads, your political commentators, if that's the majority of what you spend in your day, it's become your religion. So, again, unplug, turn off the TV, and dive in, start in Genesis. Start in Genesis and get to know how a godly government should run. Because it's in there. That's the genius of it. The founding fathers, they put together a government that was based on the government in the Old Testament, the judges. It's there. So if you're not familiar with the Old Testament, go read it, get to know it, and it'll change the way you see politics. You'll start to see the absolute foolishness, the asinine arguments. There are so many stupid politicians out there. I mean, there's some politicians that get up and they speak, and you ask yourself the question, how are they still there? How are they still? Because we're stupid. We keep pulling them in. And it boils down to that. And it's sad. It's a joke. It's a circus. It really is. It's a circus. And yeah, you like that. And we give them more power than they really should have and they really have. We give them more weight in our lives than they have. Hey, would you like to say anything else, my love? No? All right. Well, pray for the presidency. Pray for our government. Pray for our leaders, and not only on the national level, but on your local level, your state level, your city level. And this is something that I've been flirting with myself. And get involved in your city government. If you really want to make a difference, get involved in your town council, in your city council, in whatever form of government you have in your local area. Get involved. Get to know who your state senators are and get involved in your state government.
And go watch the Trump card.
Yeah, go watch it. Very interesting.
Amazon, digital, Walmart.
Yes, that was. I'm sorry, I didn't mention that. I talked about Dinesh D'Souza, but I didn't mention that was his the name of it. Sorry.
2020.
Yes, it was originally going to be titled what? Socialist America. Something to the effect. It was going to have socialism in it, and he realized that that wouldn't fit with the current status of our federal government right now. So.
The documentary was actually divided up into sections, and just basically gives you a big picture. It isn't necessarily all about the federal government as much as it is how every piece fits in, whether it's LGBT, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, socialism, the Democrats, why they push for what they push for. It's very important to see how it all fits together, and it's just really neat. I don't want to give you spoilers, but the way they put it together from start to finish, it just, you get an understanding, you get foundation. This is about this nation. This is not about your group. This is not about your skin color. It's about this nation. And not only that, remembering as people of God that God is the one that gives power to any king. You ain't gonna sit in that seat unless God's okay with it. Even if you're a wicked king, God is the one that approves it. Right. But in this case, God has got some stuff he want to do with America, and what he says goes. In this hour, President Trump would not even be in there had God not made a way for it, made it possible, interrupted all their plans, deep state, whatever. He completely put a monkey wrench in their plan. God Almighty himself did that. Nobody can take credit for that. It wasn't your votes. Yeah, you voted, but it wasn't supposed to happen. They had a system in place for so-and-so to get it. And well, who was it? Hillary went away? She didn't get it. No. You know, how do we know that you know, they didn't do something with Dominion? I don't know. You know, they did something that they were pretty sure she was going to get it. But this time they had another plan. So did you talk about the Philadelphia? Did you talk about the mail-in ballots and how, you know, they were receiving more mail-in ballots than there were actual registered voters? These are things that are going on. And other thing you can do is continue to blow the horn, blow the whistle. If you were a victim of unfair treatment at the polls, if you saw something, if Republicans were not allowed to pay attention and view things like that, you got to speak up, reach out. You know, the legal team of Trump. I mean, they have hundreds of different affidavits, and you know, was it Doug Maserati? Was it Maserati from Pennsylvania?
I don't know his name. It's something like that.
It's something like that. It's something like that. Maserati something. But you know, they basically, in Pennsylvania, the Democratic-run government, where they primarily vote Republican, that doesn't make any sense. But they actually had a plan, and they thought that it was going to succeed. You know what I mean? There were mail-in ballots that are supposed to come in flat, that these people were unfolding mail-in ballots. Like they had come packed down, you know, and vehicles pulling in and dropping things off, and that's just not how it's supposed to go. But a lot of these things are coming out. These are affidavits from lawyers. I mean, these are intelligent people. We got little old ladies that ain't never went to machines, and they're speaking up, and it's there's a lot going on in America.
Neither one of us voted for Trump his first.
No, you've been saying a lot about what I do.
Did you?
I voted Democratic because they taught black people to vote
Democratic.
No, I'm talking about
Trump's.
I voted for Trump the first time.
Oh, did you?
I sure did. I voted for Trump the first time. That's the way that I was led to vote, and there's no way in the world that I vote for Hillary Clinton. But I voted for Trump the first time around. I voted for Obama the first time around, but the second time I did vote for him. When your eyes open and you pray and God shows you things, all I can say is put your seatbelt on, get your popcorn, go watch Trump Card. Don't let it be about, division, because what is it? One nation under God was indivisible, right? This country, the minute you start dividing us up into pockets that are about your sexual persuasion, your color of your skin, whether you want to murder babies or not, we don't have a nation anymore. And that's when you can have all the ISIS and all the different terrorists can come in and break us apart. They can systematically tear us apart because we're too busy screaming about, I want pink Kool-Aid and I want purple Kool-Aid. Guys, this is petty. It's petty. America has never been like that. I wish I was born back in the days of World War I and all that, and just see the growth, see when it really began to become that America that we know it to be. Education, everything was great. We know African Americans, whatever, we had our struggle and all, but look at where we are today. And then the other thing is that black jobs have never been as high as they've been, ever. And the Black American community has woken up, and they see that, like, wow, we're actually prospering during this administration. We didn't even vote for him. He didn't even need the black vote. But now they're like, we're voting for him. And the media, mainstream media, won't tell you that. They won't tell you about black voices for Trump. Why would there even be a certain thing when someone says, if you ain't black, if you ain't Democrat, you ain't black? What kind of mess is that? Did you know the original Republicans were black? Did you know that back before
Lincoln?
Yeah, back before Reconstruction. All those representatives, even South Carolina has a history of black representatives and all that. This is before the 60s. They were Republicans. They weren't Democratic. Black people don't even know that history. But yet you're going to let somebody like Biden tell you you're not black if you don't vote Democratic. To me, that sounds like a dictator. Stop calling Trump a dictator, because he's not. And no time has he told you that you got to eat grits instead of rice. Stop calling that man a dictator, because he's not. But yeah, go watch Trump Card. That's all I got to say. I'm an unofficial ambassador for Trump Card. Yeah, Facebook, I'm sorry, when I'm praying and your algorithms, they ain't working. They ain't working, because my God Almighty is putting his hand in it. You're going to have to straighten up and fly right. We're still going to be here doing it because God told us to. So, anyway, I want my coffee ice cream, so.
Oh, you got coffee ice cream? Ooh, I want some. All right, well, we're going to end this right now so we can go have our coffee ice cream. Go watch the documentary. Read your Bible. And we'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a wonderful evening. God bless y'all. All right. Remember how to close.